Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Empower Africa Now. I'm very delighted to have you, and as always I thank you for taking the time to watch these videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, I urge you to hit your subscribe button and share as appropriately so we may have enough impact on the information that we are sending out. So as you all know, it's becoming very normal that economies will open up to be able to reduce the economic impact of the coronavirus on the population. So many countries are starting to ease the restrictions, getting a few businesses up and running. And so it's very important that we know our need and demand for face mask and to be able to budget for that. So for today's presentation, by the way, I just wanted to look at the budget estimate for face masks. So there are two simple questions for us to answer, okay? So for you as an individual or in a family situation, the questions are: what is your personal or family need for face mask? It's very important. And how much will you spend on face mask each month or on a yearly basis? In my previous videos, information that you are aware of the fact that this thing is going to last for a little while. The drug trials, clinical trials for vaccines is taking time. It's a normal process. So this can last for a while, okay? So the new normal is that economies are going to open up gradually and phase out the coronavirus. So let us get started. In order to estimate the budget for your family or for yourself, there are some practical considerations that we need to keep in mind. I just want to start, for example, by showing I got this box of face masks. And there are 50 of them in here. So you may not have the similar types, or maybe you buy in retail format or in a package. You'll be able to have to estimate what the cost is for yourself. So there are three considerations. The first thing is, the first factor is, are you in a single situation or are you in a family? The second factor is how often do you go out in a month? Are you the kind of person who basically goes out every month, every day for work or for exercise or all other activities? For example, so if you're going out every day or likely to go out every day, you would say that your demand for masks would be, let's say, 30 masks in a month. And the third factor is what is the cost of a face mask in your local currency? Okay, to determine that, you can either go and buy one mask if it is retailed as such. Otherwise, if you have a packet of masks as these ones, you can estimate what is the cost of the mask in your local currency. This one, I bought it for $25 US, $25 equivalent, and there are 50 of them in this. So that basically means that one mask in this package is $50. Okay, so when you fulfill these three factors, which I call a needs assessment, you can then go ahead to estimate what you will need on a monthly basis, a yearly basis. So again, I repeat the three factors. Number one, are you alone? If you are alone, then I'll say that for that factor, you need number one, numerical one. So second factor is, do you go out every day in a month? Suppose you go out, say, 25 days in a month, then for that factor, you will write down 25, okay? And then for factor 3, which is about the cost of face mask, um, a single face mask, just as the situation that I've demonstrated, it's $half for one face mask. So with those three, you can estimate the cost of face mask in a month for a single person, which would be 1 times 25 times $0.5. Okay, 1 times 25 days a month times $0.50. So you see that with this simple formula to estimate the budget for a single person for a face mask, so I would need $12.5 a month for face mask. Conservative estimate. And so how does this translate to an annual budget? Okay, and that translates to $150 a year. There are 12 months in a year. So as a conservative estimate, you will have to budget for $150 a year for face mask, single family situation. So what about your own personal or different? Their scenarios are all different. So suppose you are in a family of 2 and you assume that you will be going out at least 25 days in a month, each of you. So this cost translates to 2 times 25 times $0.50, which is $25 a month. And this becomes $300 a year for the family. Okay, so you see here that what really matters is the size of the family. If you are in a family of 5, and basing on these same assumptions that I've made, you can estimate for this the monthly cost of face mask will be $62.50 for a family of 5, and that translates to $750 a year for this family. This is a very conservative estimate, and it's based on the fact that you use the mask once and you have to dispose of it. Of course, they are disposable, and it assumes that you only go out once. So you see that if the variables change, for example, if you're going out several times and disposing of it, you can plug that into this simple equation, A times B times C, and you'll be able to get to approximate the budget for yourselves or for your families. So while we have demonstrated this budget estimate for face masks, I just want us to reflect on what are the implications of this. You know, if you have to reflect again on the HIV/AIDS epidemic that rocked the world, and especially sub-Saharan Africa, there was a market, or there is a market, that remain after the high levels of infections of HIV, and that market has to do with condoms that's now being used for prevent not only the spread of HIV, but have been used to prevent unwanted pregnancies and so on and so forth, as it's being pitched to us. So the COVID-19 has come with its own economic effects. There's a business side of it, and so we must not be shy to think about and discuss these economic aspects of it, and ask the questions: who is benefiting from it, or how can things be made easier for our populations? So you see there is a market share for condoms. Likewise, there's going to be a market. There is already a market for face masks. So the question becomes, who is involved? Who is going to be involved long term? So let us come back to the reflections anyway, starting from the family. The first thing is, what implications in terms of share of capital for face masks? You now know how much you will spend a month or a year. So what are the implications? How would inability to afford, if you can't afford face masks, how would the inability to afford impact the fight against COVID-19? And I stress on this point of affordability because in my last video I mentioned how you could actually create face masks using some locally made material that is available to you. So by the way, if you didn't watch that video or you haven't subscribed to this channel, I urge you to subscribe, to share, so you wouldn't be able to miss any information that we disseminate. Subscribing is very important because all information that we post out there, the impact of the information also has to do with your ability to share with others. So again, how would the inability to afford face masks impact the fight against coronavirus? The next thing I want us to reflect on is the implications in terms of the share of capital for face masks. So will some of this capital expenditure remain in your local communities? Will it? Or will it simply evaporate to enrich those countries or companies that are producing them abroad? So these are pertinent questions to ask, guys, and I think it's very relevant for all communities. You want to make sure that the local entrepreneurs that are producing face masks, that they can tap into this share of capital, not only because it's a business, but because it comes with a lower cost for the people. Okay, it comes with a lower cost for the people, and ability to produce locally also means maybe availability, not having to depend on importation and all the logistics associated. So in conclusion, what can we say in terms of how to promote local companies involved with face mask production and the issue of budget? We at Empower Africa Now, we actually believe that local efforts to produce face masks should be encouraged. They should be encouraged. And this can be done by providing financial support to local startups. There are a couple of them out there. This kind of support can include tax incentives for entrepreneurs to flourish and to standardize their inventions. I think this can be done. We also need to promote the use of locally produced face masks as opposed to the imported ones, because there are several advantages associated with this. There is cost, there is readily availability, and so on and so forth. So that is what I wanted to talk to you about today in terms of budget for face masks for yourselves or for your family. I will say that if you like this video, I urge you to subscribe to the channel, share, and comment. Let us know what is going on. I'm hoping that at some point we will get to know more and more of the enterprises that are involved with face mask production locally. And locally, I mean in country. In country, what are the brands that are out there? Okay? So thank you for watching and see you next time.